I want to thank the two nominees for their willingness to serve in these very important capacities. I just returned from Taiwan and Korea Saturday night. And of course, Korea focused right now on what's going on with the North Korean threat. But I stopped in Taipei. I met with President Tsai and her team. Was struck by what happened there just last month, where they had a 6-hour blackout in Taiwan as they were not able to take care of peak load. There was doubling down on decommissioning their nuclear power capabilities, and it left them without enough power to keep the grid going there for 6 hours in August during peak demand. So these issues we're talking about here today, and with the expertise you both respectively bring to the job, are, I think, of utmost importance, as we've seen mistakes made around the world. Australia, Germany, I think I'd add Taiwan to that list now, of not thinking through really a diverse portfolio and balanced capabilities, not just to meet baseload, how critically important that is, but also peak. In my home state of Montana, our baseload largely comes from coal-fired generation, about 50 to 60%. I remember a couple of years ago when I was out at Colstrip, where the power plant is, and chatting with the manager there. It was a hot July day, and they were doing some maintenance on part of the plant. So they were off the grid for a period of time. Well, when a high-pressure system moves into the Northwest in July and August, the temperatures goes up, and of course the wind stops blowing. And I support renewable energy. We're very excited about what we're seeing in Montana with our renewable portfolio, but it's also a reminder that we have to have a diverse portfolio here to ensure that we keep base load and, importantly, peak load as well going forward. Our largest coal-fired plant in Montana, Colstrip, has been under threat from the litany of heavy-handed regulations as well as litigation from the prior administration. That plant employs 350 people. The mine, about 400 people. It's one of the largest taxpayers in our state. It's a heavy economic contributor, particularly at a time right now in Montana where we are facing a fiscal train wreck, where at the moment we're having to cut across the board 10%, it looks like, across state agencies because revenues are not coming in as anticipated. And if we lost this huge economic driver in Montana that pays a lot of taxes to keep our teachers and our schools and our infrastructure funded, not to mention reliable and low-cost energy, it would be a catastrophe in my state. We're very concerned about the future of Colstrip right now in Montana. I very much understand the importance of a diverse energy portfolio. I'm the only chemical engineer serving on the Hill, so I always like to get in and kind of geek out on some of these issues as it relates to energy and so forth. But we are very concerned. We need a diverse portfolio. We need to provide our operators with a suite of options to keep the grid secure. I don't think we can remove baseload power, specifically coal generation, from our nation's energy mix. By the way, Montana has the largest coal reserves in the United States. You think of Montana as a state that's famous for Yellowstone National Park and Glacier Park and fly fishing, the river runs through it, and Brad Pitt with a fly rod in his hand. That's all true. And we have more recoverable coal than any state in the United States. The responsible use of this natural resource, in my opinion, is certainly in my state's and I think our nation's best interest. Mr. Walker, I greatly appreciate your operations background that you have. I was an operations guy when I worked for Procter & Gamble. Operations guys are not dealing in theory, they deal with reality every day. And I appreciate that background you will bring to the job. I understand you touched with Senator Manchin when he asked questions about the importance of coal generation to a reliability of the grid. But I want to move into this national security implications. What is your perspective on the importance of baseload generation, specifically coal generation, to our national security?
Thank you for the question, Senator Daines, and appreciate meeting with your staff last week to learn a little bit about some of the details of the projects you have going on. Specifically to the question you asked me, I am a strong supporter of a diverse portfolio. I'm a strong supporter of traditional baseload, particularly as it relates to the essential reliability services aspect that often go unspoken when people talk about generation. And that component is what provides the national security benefit that you're alluding to. When you run an electricity system from an operations perspective, there's some fundamental practicalities that are driven by fundamental physics. And the reason that coal and nuclear were utilized as traditional base load were to control those essential reliability services, more specifically, things like controlling the frequency of the system, the inertial energy of the system, and the reactive power flow of the system. And so those components are the underpinnings of what allow all of the other renewables and other type of technologies to ride on top of it, if you will, to provide and meet the demands of the load profile that's there. So I revert back to the basic reasons that the traditional load was made up of coal and nuclear, which was really to facilitate the rest of the load portfolio. So I'm a strong supporter of traditional base load.
Mr. Walker, I'm out of time, but thank you for the term fundamental physics as we talk about this. And I'd like to get your commitment if you would come out to Montana and visit Colstrip. And I'd like to get your assessment on grid security once you're confirmed.
If confirmed, but even if I'm not confirmed, I'd love to come out to Montana. You just have to promise me I don't have to bring my skiing son who was trying to get to Montana any way he can.
Montana State is a great place to go to school, and you can ski a lot if you want. Just to let you know that. So.
He's studying chemical engineering.
God bless you. Good work. Thank you.